Call this meeting of the Town of Silver City Planning and Zoning Commission to order, Tuesday, July 6th, 2021, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you rise and join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll proceed to roll call.
Commissioner Seibel.
Present.
Commissioner Sandor.
Present.
Commissioner Wheaton-Smith.
Present.
Commissioner Troutman.
Present.
Very good. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to the approval of this evening's agenda. Seeing no changes to the agenda, do I hear a motion to approve it?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
And I second the motion as stated.
Okay, we got to start with the agenda.
Oh, sorry.
First, sorry.
Approval of the agenda. Okay, so I make a motion to approve the agenda.
And seconded.
All right, motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes of the April 28th regular meeting. Everyone had a chance to review those?
Yes.
I move to approve the minutes of the April 28th, 2021 regular meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the April 28th regular meeting. Is there any discussion?
No.
All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. All right, we have nothing under old business, which brings us to public hearings. And so I will open public hearing TA 21-01, request for recommendation of an amendment to the text of the Land Use Code of 2010 to the Town Council. Applicant is the Community Development Department. And if I could ask all present who want to testify either in favor of or against this proposal to please approach the podium so that I can swear you in. Again, being sworn in doesn't mean that you have to testify, but it makes it a whole lot easier. Doesn't make us have to stop everything to swear you in if you decide you want to say something. All right, since everyone in the room is up there, repeat after me. I, and state your name, please.
I, Jamie Impick,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that the testimony I am about to give
that the testimony I am about to give
will be the truth,
will be the truth,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth,
on penalty of perjury.
on penalty of perjury.
Thank you so much. And we will begin with the staff report, which I guess is also the applicant's testimony.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commissioners, and welcome back to your live meetings in person. So this is TA 21-01, a request for recommendation of amendment to the text of the Land Use Code. And this originated with our Historic Design Review Committee. It's been a couple of years that we've been wanting to work on their portion of the Land Use Code. And we've met with our new attorney, town attorney, Mr. Jim Reynolds, and we've worked on this together. And I will go over what the Historic Design Review Committee recommends and a little bit of the reasoning for that. And then if you have any questions for myself or the chair, Mrs. Becky Smith is here also. So section 4.2.6C3 will be amended by adding the following. Window finishes shall be compatible with existing finishes and colors on the structure and preserve the architectural design of the building. Size and shape of windows should be maintained as close to the original as possible without damaging the structure. This has come up in several cases, and a recent one, there were some architectural bump outs that needed to be preserved to maintain the look and character of the building. And so we've just kind of been a little more specific on that category. Section 4.2.6 shall be amended by adding the following: storage units, shipping containers. The regulation of storage units, shipping containers within the historic overlay zoning districts shall be controlled by and shall conform to the regulations prescribed in this section. Up until now, they were not covered. This is the Land Use Code of 2010, and they weren't an issue at the time, and lately they've been popping up all over town, and they weren't addressed in this section. So the definition in a storage unit shipping container means a unit originally or specifically designed or used to store goods or merchandise during shipping or hauling by container ships, rail, commercial trucks, or other types of transportation. Number 2, at no time shall any storage unit shipping container be placed on property in the historic overlay zoning districts except as permitted in this section. 3, storage unit shipping containers shall only be allowed for temporary use during active construction on property with a state-issued building permit for a period of no greater than 90 days. 4, an existing storage unit shipping container currently located on any property within the historic overlay zoning districts shall be removed within 6 months after the effective date of this ordinance. And so that was addressing, some people already have them, so it gives them a little sunset clause to come up with some other alternative to use instead of the shipping containers. There's already a section in there about compatible finishes, so that also gives them an option. They could do a false stucco over it or something, and so it doesn't just look like a metal shipping container. So they'll have a little time to do something.
Does that mean that would, to put that finish on it would imply that it's there permanently? Is that what you mean, or just temporarily create a finish?
So a lot of them have turned from temporary into permanent anyway, so it would give them an opportunity to come before the design review committee and the state building inspector and do something a little. The building code is becoming adapted to those, so there are options that they could do to make it a permanent structure. Yes.
Okay.
The next section deals, section 6.3.21B2 will be removed and replaced with applicants shall consult with the design review committee. The historic design review committee shall be final. The decision of the historic design review committee shall be final unless appealed to the town council. And this deals with mural permits. Before they were a public hearing, and the town has never followed that policy. They've always just been new business, handled as new business. They've not been handled as a public hearing. So this corrects the actual policy with the law on the books. Section 4 is section 6.3.21D. 3 will be amended to read, sandblasting is not allowed as a cleaning process in the historic overlay districts. No cleaning method shall be used that will damage the surfacing of historic structures. So that's been updated in case the technology has changed with some water blasting. They've kind of changed the technology, and they can use that a little more to clean and remove paint, but we're still not allowing sand blasting on the old soft brick. So the next section, when we routed this to the other department heads, the floodplain manager brought 3 definitions that were omitted out of the original land use code, and that's section 4.1.2, NN, OO, and PP, which are regulatory floodway, means the channel of a river or other watercourse in the adjacent land areas that must be reserved in order to discharge the base flood without cumulatively increasing the water surface elevation more than a designated height. Riverine means relating to, formed by, or resembling a river, including tributaries, streams, brooks, etc. And special flood hazard area, see area of special flood hazard. And we've had no response from the public about this text amendment, and 1 county commissioner wanted to see the staff report but had no comment after reading that. And with that, I am available for questions.
Well, I do have a question, and luckily Becky's here. Silver City is not ever going to be the annual meeting of homeowners associations, and the reason I say that is of the words "and colours." I've had a lot of problems with HOAs, and so I'm very sensitive to the issue of colour. Colour is often a very transient thing. You can change the colour very, very quickly. And that's really the only question I've got on all these amendments. Was there what sort of basis was there behind selecting a colour requirement?
It was, there's often aluminum metal frame windows, and that's what Mr. Shellenditch was not wanting, the reflective aluminum. So often those products come in a tan or a color other than that. So would you rather it reflect the aluminum? That's what he was getting at, was he doesn't like the reflective aluminum when you could get a color.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
So how would you recommend that we update that?
One possibility is existing window finishes shall be compatible with existing finishes on the structure, and I think there needs to be possibly a restriction on specifically the aluminum ones, because I have to agree, I hadn't thought of that.
Okay. We could put IE. Let's see.
Know whether we specifically need to mention aluminum.
Aluminum. Well, the way it's stated, shall be compatible with existing finishes and colors on the structure. So that's what Stephen was wanting, was so that it blends with the structure.
I absolutely agree with that.
So we don't have a palette of, say, 10 colors you can choose.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he wanted it to be a little vague, because it says shall be compatible with existing finishes and colors, so that wouldn't rule out aluminum on some properties, is also a problem. So I think that's why he was wanting to go with that.
Yeah, no, that seems, that's reasonable.
And we don't regulate paint color on wall finishes or anything, so it was just one instance where sometimes the aluminum is a glaring problem, and then sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So if we read it, shall be compatible with existing finishes and colors on the structure and preserve the architectural design of the building. I think if we take that sentence as a whole.
Okay.
Does that make a little more sense?
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you for the explanation.
Sure.
Any other questions from the commission?
I have a question about the existing storage units and shipping containers. You mentioned that there are some already located within the district that have been there long-term. Is that become a permanent? I'm concerned about the wording that the existing storage unit and shipping containers shall be removed, but then you made a comment about maybe they can put a facade over it or cover it up or something. If that wording is shall be removed, that doesn't allow for doing anything else, does it?
So it does technically. We can add or be modified, but it would allow for them to go the historic design. To create any structure within the historic district, you have to meet with the Historic Design Review Committee and have your plans reviewed. So if they wanted to keep it, they could begin that process, but we could make it more specific and say shall be removed or altered after consultation with the Historic Design Review Committee and the Construction Industries Division. Because how they would alter, they would have to get a building permit, they would have to come to the Historic Design Review Committee if they didn't want to remove it. So would you like something more specific about that?
I would think so.
Okay.
I'm surprised nobody has
So that's in section
mentioned anything about it, I guess.
4. So would you like it to say shall be removed within 6 months after the effective date of this ordinance to, what would you think, Becky?
Alternatively, a plan for exterior finish compatible with historic location could be approved by the Historic Design Review Committee.
So we could put alternatively, the owner may consult with, because whatever they do has to be okay with the Construction Industries Division also.
Sure,
So
I
the-
understand.
The owner may consult with the Historic Design Review Committee, and I'll have to write it out, I can't abbreviate, but
We've got a lot of mobile homes in town with adobe exterior.
right.
You don't have containers with red paint.
That, I think that's what we'll have. So it says alternatively, the owner may consult with the Historic Design Review Committee and New Mexico Construction Industries Division to make the container, to convert
Converting it to a permanent structure, right?
into a permanent structure. How about that? Would you like
Sure.
me to read it again?
I think that makes sense.
Okay, I'll read it again. That way you don't have to read it with your motion. So that would be on section 4.2.6. We'll just make it 5. Alternatively, the owner may consult with the Historic Design Review Committee and New Mexico Construction Industries Division to convert the container into a permanent structure.
That sounds good.
That sounds good.
That gives them the option. The expense for that may not make it worth it, but that would give them an option.
Yeah, at least then it's not,
So within that 90-day period, they need to start the process. Okay, so alternatively, the owner may consult with the Historic Design Review Committee and New Mexico Construction Industries Division to convert the container into a permanent structure within the 90-day, within the 6-month. Within 6 months of the date of the ordinance. That way it's consistent.
The future containers that come,
Well, there wouldn't be any.
well, I mean, they start out.
I think,
Just trying to think ahead.
yeah, let's see. It says they shall only be allowed for temporary use during construction after this. So they would have to,
So the existing ones can be turned into permanent buildings, but
yes, so that gives them an out for the people that already have them. But number 3 says only during active construction for a period no greater than 90 days. So.
All right, is there any questions, discussion from the commission?
I have none.
almost entirely unrelated to this, but I was going to ask about it anyway had we not had a text amendment on the agenda. I'm curious whether there's any effort. I think this is probably too far along to, go there, but have there been conversations in the department about how we're going to address dispensaries in the land use code?
Yes, so Mr. Marshall is working with Mr. Brown. The state has not quite passed all of their rules yet, so as soon as those come down, then that will trigger that. And they've been looking at other ordinances in other towns, and they're getting ready, but we have to wait for the state to finish what rules they will have.
Okay.
And I've spoken with the chief, and they've spoken with the council. It looks like it'll be mostly the way alcohol is taken care of with the state.
So along the lines of distance from churches and schools, basically.
Mm-hmm. So we're waiting to see what the state rules are.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, discussion? Formally, we've had, is there anyone present who'd like to testify either in favor of or against the application?
I'm in favor of it.
All right. Well, then I guess that brings us to a motion.
I move to recommend to the Town Council TA 21-01A an amendment to the text of the Land Use Code of 2010 as modified by the discussions of today's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting with findings 1, 2 and 4.
All right. That's a recommendation to approve.
Recommendation to approve, yes.
All right. We have a motion for approval, to recommend approval. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve text amendment TA 21-01 with the modifications made in the meeting, primarily referring to the modifications around the storage containers. Is there any discussion on the motion?
None.
I have one question, sir.
Yes.
Which findings did you cite, Commissioner Wheaton-Smith?
I suggested 1, 2 and 4.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, there is a motion and a second to recommend approval to the Town Council of text amendment TA 21-01 for text of the Town of Silver City's Land Use Code, and with the modifications put forth in the meeting here today, and with findings 1, 2, and 4 being made. With there being no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion will do that roll call vote.
Commissioner Seibel.
Aye.
Commissioner Sandor.
Aye.
Commissioner Wheaton-Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Troutman.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries unanimously, and that closes this public hearing on TA 21-01. All right, we'll move on to new business, of which there is none, and the community forum, of which there is none. I think if those land use code modifications on dispensaries are put forward, that might be a great topic for a public forum. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in that and potentially misinformation around it. And if we can help in that process, I think that would be a great way to use that space on our agenda.
Okay.
So I'll put that out there. And we'll move on to reports from staff.
Well, Priscilla has taken her job with the county, so I'm back handling your meetings. We have a new mapper starting July 12th. Her name is Jacqueline Olea. You may or may not see her here at those meetings. And our offices are back open to the public 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. So we're back.
Woo! All right, thank you very much. Reports from the commission.
I don't have a report, but Jamie had sent out an email which was a copy of some training materials.
Yes.
And I know we've talked about training for the commissioners, and I was just wondering what's going to happen to kickstart that.
And I would very dearly, especially now that we're able to meet in person. I don't know, we have an opening. Are we going to wait till we fill that opening on the commission? I think it would be worthwhile. I don't know if the new town attorney is interested in helping with that training, or if that's something we just handle ourselves, but...
I can email him tomorrow and see if he's interested in. That position's been open for quite a while. I know we had some people interested in it, but I think we could go ahead and have a training, and then if we get a new person, catch them up. So I will email the attorney tomorrow. I'll just do a group email to everyone and see if he's interested.
Okay, that'd be fine. And I think it's worthwhile, and I would encourage us to find a date and time that we can all be present, because even those of us who have been on the commission for a while, I think it's worthwhile always to have that refresher on who we are and what we do and how we do it. So I'd like to encourage everyone to be present if that's possible for you.
I don't believe that you have a meeting scheduled for August. There's nothing on the agenda, so we could just do it then. Would you like to do that? And does evening work for everybody?
What length of time would you expect this training to be?
I would say an hour, hour and a half, depending on if there are a lot of questions, since they're not a large group.
So we're talking about August 3rd then. That's the first Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that works for you?
Yes.
Okay.
May I have a quick look? I know I've got blood draws. Yeah, that's fine. That would
Okay.
work.
So
That
we'll
works for me,
tentatively
too.
set it for that August meeting date.
Okay.
Since we don't have anything. And if Mr. Reynolds isn't available, I can do it for you.
Okay.
We're not creating any new material. This is existing material that's just going to be covered, correct? Yeah, okay.
And a lot of it will just be, 99% of it is in your commissioner handbook, the 3-wing binder. It's just going through that, seeing if you have questions, going over your role. A lot of the information that was in the slideshow that I sent you is kind of the basics, and then we can go through that and ask questions and clarify when is it ex parte communication, when is it not, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay,
All right, very good.
excellent.
Any other reports from commission?
Don't have anything.
Okay, I have presents for everybody.
Commissioner presence.
There you are.
Thank you.
Can we open them now?
Sure, there's
Yeah.
there's nothing like some land use jokes.
Okay, this is a trick box.
It's one of those ingenious things that some shipping container person came up with.
Bug.
Yes.
Neighbors for more neighbors.
Pay very strict attention. There's many ways that mug can and cannot be used. So,
Lovely, thank you very much.
all right. Any other reports from the commission? All right. We don't have any community members here for community input, which brings us to a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries, and we are adjourned.